On this episode of Deleted WrestleZone, we're going to talk about GCW's Homecoming Weekend. Finally, GCW is making live events after months since the pandemic started. But this wasn't the first show, there was another show, but I'll explain that soon. So let's start on this episode of Deleted WrestleZone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted WrestleZone, all things pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan, Impact Wrestling, NWA, many more promotions, matches, wrestlers, and championships. Now, hope you guys had a great weekend. I did because I managed to see the return of GCW doing live shows, but instead of doing it indoors, it was outdoors. It took place at Atlantic City Boardwalk. If you guys are not familiarized, who are living the West Coast, Atlantic City is like their East Coast version of Las Vegas. So if you guys never been there, I never been there. Hope I get to be there. GCW has done a show before, but it was with no audience. But that show particularly was different. Basically, what happened is they were not touching each other. That was a different thing. I didn't get the chance to see it because I don't have this subscription or code from this one place where I can watch it. But it was kind of interesting how I saw some clips of it down on Twitter. But this one was interesting because in Homecoming, great matches, great surprises, including death matches. If you guys are not into that, then you probably miss out a little bit. If you guys are familiarized with death matches, you mostly seen that in certain promotions. The GCW is kind of like ECW, but that's how it is. But let's start right now to part one on Homecoming. All right, so right now we're going to start with part one of the Homecoming for GCW. The first match was a scramble match. Now, if you guys don't know what that is, a scramble match is where they have 6 competitors facing off each other, but there has to be one. Now, don't ask me why they call it, but the first time I ever heard of a scramble match is when Joey Janela, if you guys are not familiarized, Joey Janela has worked with GCW in the past. That's the promotion where he's been prior to AEW. They had a scramble match, and this was the mark where Jungle Boy returned for after losing his father. But let's just get down with this one. The scramble match had 6 competitors: Calvin Tankman, Alley Cat, Jimmy Lloyd, Benjamin Carter, Matthew Justice, and Leo Moriarty. Now these are wrestlers you may or may not have heard. Alley Cat, I have heard her name before, just recently, not like years ago or anything. Her name has appeared, but she was the only female wrestler in this match. Now, what do I think about the scramble match? It was alright, So basically, it was good, but the winner for this one is Calvin Tankman. The dude is huge. Now, like I said, none of these majority of these wrestlers I'm not familiarized with. Some I do, because I seen them in other promotions. I can name a few, but if there is a name you guys that I may mention on this, then that's the name you know. Next match is Trey Lamar versus the return of ACH. Yes, you guys know who ACH is. We haven't heard from him since last year when he went for MLW, where he teamed with King Mo. As you all know, ACH had his issues with WWE, doing that they were being racist and all that. But he said he was retiring, but now he's back. Some people were concerned because he might have had ring rust. If you guys don't know what that means, he hasn't wrestled for some time, but he did hold his own, no matter what. But he was fantastic the way he did. I'm a fan of ACH, not only because of what he's done, but mostly he throws in a bit of his comedy routine into his wrestling, which is something I like. So it was great to see. It was a great match with ACH and Trey Lamar. Now I'm not familiarized with Trey Lamar, but as I talk about this match, let's just skip who won. ACH. Now he did great. I hope we get to see more of him somewhere down the line with GCW. Next match we have this is an interesting match. You may know this guy, Mance Warner facing off against Chris Dickinson. Chris, I am familiarized with him a little bit, but it was a great Mance. It was great to see him. It was a brutal match between both of them. You look at Chris Dickinson; he's more of the catch wrestling type of wrestler, and it's great to see him wrestle too. Mance, oh man, I love Mance due to the fact that I've seen him in MLW. He has come here for Fist Combat in San Diego. Great to see that. Um, but the match was great to see it. Um, but the winner for this one is Chris Dickinson. He won. He did a promo. Now he admit to the people right in post match, he's not good with promos. So what he did, he spoke out about how he felt that wrestling is back, and it's true, because we haven't heard from GCW for quite some time due to the pandemic, but of course we have to be happy knowing that they're here. Now the next match we had Blake Christian versus Alex Zane. Now I'm not familiarized with you, but boy, this match was awesome between Christian and Zane. Now it's common for me because if I see a wrestling match from wrestlers I never heard of, if I like what I see, this is that match you gotta watch. You know. Now, this is a common David versus Goliath type of match. Christian, he's a bit shorter, and Zane, he's a bit taller. Come on, who doesn't love a David versus Goliath story? But yeah, and I enjoyed this match. I never heard of these guys, but these guys blew the house down with one making the pin, but the other trying to get out of it. That is something is cool to see every single time. But I loved it. So the winner on this one is Blake Christian. So I'm very happy with this one. Now, the next match is a death match. Now, if you guys are not fans of death matches, that's fine. I'm not going to hold it against you. But this is one of those matches where you see blood and toys. Now, this is common in certain areas, in certain parts of the country. Not only here, but also in Japan and in Mexico. So the match is AJ Gray, who is barely starting to get involved in death matches from what I'm understanding, is facing a veteran guy, Alex Colon. Now, I'm not familiarized with either one of those two, but the dynamic with this one where I hear AJ Gray, he is not in fact a stylistic to be in death matches. Now, do I find it disturbing? No. But do I find it like, okay, this is interesting? Yes. Now, like I said, if you guys are not fans, I understand. You don't have to watch that match if you ever get to see it. But it was great. There was a lot of great moments with Cologne going through glass. I'm like, ugh. Then Cologne applying a Spanish fly on Gray through a glass. That's crazy. But the winner of this match was Alex Colon, who has more experience with death matches, but he gave AJ Gray the respect he deserves. He hold his own. You see, it's not an easy task for people to be part of these type of matches. Now, if you're in the San Diego area, if you want to learn this, there is one person who can teach you this stuff. That person is either Damien 666 or his son Bestia 666. They're always involved in these type of matches. And if his comment is also involved in those. If you're in the San Diego area, but if you know someone who's into that stuff, you know where to go. Now, we had a little intermission going on, but what happened in the intermission, it turned into a engagement show. So basically, there was a couple of fans there, and the guy planned the whole thing. So he proposed to his girlfriend on the ring, and it's real sweet, you know. So why not? Now the next match we jump in after the intermission, we had Nate Webb, who I'm not familiarized with, but this guy I have heard his name countless times. Um, his name is Effie. If you guys are familiarized with him, I'm sorry that I'm trying to catch up, but man, Effie is like the fan favorite for many fans. I heard his name countless times. It was a good match between them, you know, between Nate Webb and Effie. So if that's not a great match, then what is, you know? Now, the winner for this one is Effie himself, but it was good. Now the next match, another death match. So we had Schlonk versus the King himself, Nick Gage. Now I never heard of these guys, but Nick Gage, I heard his name many times over with um, GCW on certain occasions whenever they throw in some events on Fight TV and all this other stuff. But Gage has been considered as the king due to the fact that he was the king of GCW. He even is the longest reigning champion, 700 and something days, being the GCW World Champion. So that is something unique. So it explains why he's called the king. So the match, at the same time, this match was being interfered by a faction. If you guys don't know, I don't know who these guys are, but they're like a messed up version of OVE. They call themselves 4400. So basically, what's going on? 4400 have a problem with Nick Gage since their leader wants to declare himself as the king. He's trying to find a ways to humiliate Nick Gage. So they've been interfering in the match. Now, much of the match has been um, on everyone's favorite to see Nick Gage win. But of course, 44-0 were not letting him that. So Schlott was not happy that these guys were getting involved in this match. It has nothing to do with them, but they're under orders by their leader to take them out, even if Schlonk doesn't like it. So basically, he made the win, but he is not happy that 44-0 got involved. So basically, it was a real messed up event. So that's what happened. Now, the next match, this one was already been set up. This was sanctioned by DDT Pro Wrestling, and it was for the DDT Ironman Heavymetalweight Championship. Yoshihiko, coming all the way from Japan, versus the bad boy, Joey Janela. Yes. So, if you guys, I mentioned this title a few times in the past. Now, if you guys are not familiarized with the DDT Ironman Heavymetalweight Championship, that's a 24/7 title. So basically, that title is defended everywhere. But it was a great match. Now, if you guys are not familiar with Yoshihiki, I want you to go and look for Kota Ibushi versus Yoshihiko. I'll try to set up the description down below so you guys get to see it. You'll be saying, what the hell? That's what you're going to be. But it was a great match. So, basically, Joey Janela was determined to become this champion, even though he's part of AEW, but GCW has always been his home. But this match ended with Joey Janela becoming the Ironman Heavymetalweight champion. So he's happy that Yoshihiko put up a good fight. But at the same time, this guy in the black suit, who's always been around Yoshihiko, attacked him. But the biggest surprise is who was behind the mask. That person was Lio Rush. Yes, you heard me. Lio Rush. Now, it's still unclear what happened. The last time we heard, he was released from WWE on Black Wednesday on April 15th. But yeah, so basically, from what I understand, I hear that Lio Rush and Joey Janela have a big heated rivalry for a long time. So this is why this is one of those important storylines you got to follow. Now we go to the main event. This one was for the GCW title. Now this one is currently held by a guy named Ricky Shane Page, who is the leader of he's from Brooklyn, but he's the leader of 44-0. And of course, his goons were involved in a match between Schlong and Nate Gage. Much of the match, Homicide was the challenger, but of course, 44-0 keeps getting themselves involved every single chance they get. And as soon as the match was over with Ricky Shane, should we call him RSP, they decided to beat down everyone. And then here comes Schlong and Nick Gage, who have unfinished business. Now, Nick Gage had enough of these guys, especially RSP, who keeps getting involved in many of his matches, but he said he's going to put his career on the line in a tag team match. So basically, it's this: the stipulation he put out, he'll pick his team and he'll have his team. So if he loses, he's gone. But if any of his guys win, he gets a title shot against RSP. So he doesn't mind. So RSP accepted because he knows he wants him gone. So that is it for part 1. So we're about to do part 2. Alright, so we're doing part 2 of GCW's Homecoming Weekend. So the first match is Tony Dippin versus Lee Moriarty. Now, Tony Dippin is one of those wrestlers that is more at the top. But Lee Moriarty, he's the kind who is getting there to be at the top. So it's one of those matches you got to pay attention. I have heard of Tony Dippin before from a PGW for the Battle of Los Angeles tournament. So that's about it. Lee Moray, I did some the previous day, but it was a good match. It was alright. I liked it. I'll skip ahead anyway because, much like I said, some wrestlers I may familiarize myself with. So Lee Moriarty won. The next match, we had a 8-man tag. Now the first team comes out is called. Hold on, my notes are a little funky here. These guys, featuring Big Carter, Logan Stunt, Facade, and Rod Sanchez, versus Second Gear Crew that has Effie, Mance Warner, Cowboy Landers, and of course SJC. This one, basically, the Second Gear Crew has been the fan favorite to win this one. Now, like I said, there are some wrestlers I'm familiarized with, others I'm not. But the Second Gear Crew was great. I liked it. I love how they were working together. I see why fans like Effie. If you guys haven't seen him, you can just look at his name is EFFY. So look him up. So the winners is Second Gear Crew. So they won this one. The next match is KTB versus ACH. So ACH made another appearance for this one. Like I said, we don't know how his ring rust is at the point, since people haven't heard from him since he left WWE, and of course going to MLW for a short time. But he did really great. I have to say that pretty crazy how all of this went down, But I love it. ACH picked up the victory. I enjoyed every of it. Now the next match is a death match. This one has Zachary Wentz. Yes, guys. Zachary Wentz, the guy from the Rascal Wentz. This is where he is now stepping up to become, a part of the death matches. So basically, I have to say, Wentz, he did great. If you're, like I said, there are wrestlers that can be part of it and others that don't. But Wentz, I have to say, he put a lot of energy and a lot of willpower to whatever he's thrown in, either tables, glass, thumbtacks, light bulbs, everything he took. But in the end, it's always the experience, Alex Colon, but he gave respect to Wentz because he did an amazing job. I have to say, it's great to see that there's guys like who gives these guys respect. Now the next match is a scramble match, as always, featuring Jimmy Lloyd, Jordan Oliver, Trey Lamar, Alex Zane, Myron Reed, and Blake Christians. Now you may recognize Jordan Oliver and Myron Reed from MLW, but yeah, they were there. There were some team ups. They mentioned them as the major leaguers because they're part of MLW. So I mean, it's not like it's being high to us or anything, but it is what it is. But I enjoyed every moment that they had on that. A great match, great high flying. But in the end, the guy who surprises the most is Blake Christian. So he's like the one guy who will do whatever it takes to be at the top or get to the top, and I'm impressed by him single-handedly. I'm very happy with that. I would love to follow more on Blake Christians. Now the next match we had is Chris Dickinson versus Calvin Tankman. This is another great match. Now I think I'm starting to like Chris Dickinson because he's more of that guy who you see that he has a bit of the old school mentality, wrestling style, kind of like Drew Gulak or Walter, those guys. But yeah, I love it. I enjoyed it. So a great match. I was, so I'll skip ahead on this one. Christian Dickinson won. Now the next match, it's been called the final match. This is between Lio Rush and Joey Janela. Now the reason this was called the final match, Lio Rush had talked about walking away from wrestling. Now let me pause here for a little bit before I move forward with the event. What happened is Lio Rush felt he wasn't given much of the opportunity throughout his time being there. He was at first, if you all recall, when he was in WWE, they put him as a manager with Bobby Lashley, but they never gave him enough credit to become a real star as a wrestler down there. But because of that, they always held him back. All of this, he had his issues with them in the past, and he felt like it not only took his career away, but also forced him not to spend time with his family. So he made a decision to possibly end his career in wrestling and just work on other endeavors. I know he's involved in music, but also acting. So it was a great match between Joey Janela and Lio Rush. I have to say, this is the match of the night. Just to see those two, because their rivalry sets a lot of things. But Joey Janela is so crazy when he jumped off a very high location where he actually gave an elbow. I don't know what you call that, but it's so insane. It didn't happen in the ring. It happened outside the ring. So hope you guys get a chance to see it. But at the end, Joey Janela was the one. But he did in a great emotional promo at the post match with Joey Janela. He, of course, he brought out the whole Black Lives Matters as always, because you look at Lio Rush, and it brings out the best people who we are. And he really gave a great promo, but he's asking Lio Rush, don't walk away. He can see that Lio Rush deserves better, because Joey Janela, we all can agree, he will never be in WWE. WWE will never pick a guy like him because they have this status quo kind of thing. But it was great to see. Now the next match we have is Alley Cat versus Nate Webb. Now this was supposed to happen, but due to the fact that the promo took longer, 44-0 attacked both of them. and decided that they're not going to wait. They want to take out Nick Gage. So what happened is 44-0. They were facing against first. Nick Gage, Homicide were unable to do it due to the fact that they went to another promotion in Atlantic City and they got hurt. So Slonk actually showed up. He was by himself, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes Alex Colon to help him, even though he got hurt, got into a death match earlier, so he stepped up. And then all of a sudden, here comes AJ Gray. So it was great to happen. Now, 44-0 have always been cheaters. There were two other guys outside. They tried to win, but it wasn't enough to stop them. Now, Schlonk told Gray not to take the pin, so he told someone should take it. Out of nowhere, here comes Nick Gage. He takes the pin and he wins. Basically, it's becoming, GCW is becoming more like, if you remember, it was WCW versus NWO. So it's more now in this scenario with GCW. It's GCW versus 44-0. Now, what does 44-0 stands for? Well, the O is 44-0H, which is these guys are from Ohio, something like OVE, except for the leader. So except for the leader, so he is in fact the only guy who's from Brooklyn. But yes, now you ask yourselves right now. Hope you guys enjoyed all of me reviewing these two days, as we call it, the Homecoming Weekend. You ask, how can I watch these shows? It's simple. Download the app Fight TV. You can not subscribe, but add it. All you do is you pay for the show itself. Now there are others there. These for the GCW cost like $13.99. It was like basically $14. Some are bigger pay-per-views. Either will go like $40 to $60, but you don't see WCW. But you can download the app. Make sure you have an account with them. That way you know for a fact. You can use your Facebook account because that always helps. So hope you guys enjoy that. I must bid all of you guys adieu. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.